Video time! Hello YouTube, Vlogger Rants here, and this week my video is about the FBI memo that the Republican Party released a few days ago. Or at least, according to at least one report from the FBI, about 20% of the full report. According to the report, reported by Vox, it could also be one of three memos. The released Nunes Memo, the Democrats' reply, and the original Nunes Memo, which depending on the sources is either altering some grammatical errors and a couple of small things, or is majorly different. With all of that out of the way, let's begin. So, I want to start with this note. Right at the end of the report is a confirmation that the FBI didn't start with the surveillance of Carter Page, the Trump advisor that the memo spends most of its time talking about, but instead the investigation was opened based on information the Bureau had received about George Papadopoulos. Here's a quote from the dossier. Quote, "The Papadopoulos information triggered the opening of an FBI counterintelligence investigation in late July 2016 by FBI agent Pete Strzok." I've butchered that horribly. This is from the final paragraph on the final page. Interestingly, this gives an indication that the investigations into Russia would still have happened even without the surveillance of Carter Page. Even better, the investigation would still have been launched even if Hillary Clinton's dossier against Trump was never seen. Allegedly, DNC and Hillary Clinton funded. I'm pretty sure it was, but I'm not 100% sure. So when was the first alert about Papadopoulos sent to the FBI? Well, as said earlier, towards the end of July 2016 by the government of my country, Australia. This was also around the same time that WikiLeaks posted the internal DNC emails that we should have seen, along with the RNC emails, the GNC emails, and the LNC emails, G being Greenans and L being Libertarians. Oh boy, this is big. We know that the Republicans are trying to claim that the entire investigation began with Christopher Steele, so by discrediting him, they think they can make the entire investigation go away. Guess what, Republicans? If this is true, then it shows that the investigation would have happened based on evidence that had nothing to do with Mr. Steele, but instead with Mr. Papadopoulos. So sorry, the investigation was still going to happen regardless of any DNC-funded dossiers or anything Mr. Steele said. Even better still, Papadopoulos had been bragging in a London bar about how the Russians had emails that would be damaging to the Clintons back in May 2016 after being told by a London-based professor in March 2016 in relation to the Russians having Clinton-related emails. By comparison, the application to monitor the communications of Carter Page wasn't done until October 2016. That's 6 to 7 months after Papadopoulos had started to be investigated. Of course, as a result of this almost certainly edited dossier, Donald Trump is furious, and many of the Republicans are calling for Mueller to be fired along with everyone at the FBI. And if he does fire even just Mueller, forget about the whole FBI, but just Mueller would be enough to lead to a constitutional crisis that would bring down Trump and potentially the whole government. Geez, wouldn't that be ironic? That'd be crazy if this thing that was originally going to annihilate the Democratic Party wound up destroying the Republicans instead. And just to point out, I've seen endless segments from Fox News and right-wing YouTubers who make videos about this, with their fans saying that this will make Watergate look like a minor incident, that'll bring down everybody at the FBI, that'll forever end the Democratic Party and leave a Republican dictatorship across the United States, where they could then turn the US into Christian Saudi Arabia. Unfortunately for Fox News, right-wing YouTube and the Republicans, the memo makes a lot of allegations but is really short on proving stuff. Suspiciously, it never actually makes any outright assertions about malfeasance. All it does is imply a lot of suspicious stuff without actually proving anything. For instance, it implies that the political actors involved in financing the Steele dossier were Democrats, and that was known by the FBI and the FBI chose to ignore it. Why doesn't it outright say this, though? Well, that's because the firm that employed Steele was initially contacted by the Washington Free Beacon, a conservative publication. In addition, the memo never clarifies what political actors it's talking about. Now, it also implies that several important people within the FBI, including James Comey and Rod Rosenstein, were either so incompetent that they failed to notice several omissions within the applications to reapprove the FISA surveillance, or that they were complicit in an effort to deceive the court. However, according to former FBI agent Asha Rangappa, the FISA surveillance, is reapproved if you have new information justifying the original probable cause and the government's need to listen. Kind of the point of requiring the extension. Sounds like the government made its burden not once, but 3 times. That's what she said. Finally, it doesn't prove its core claim. All it does is asserts them. Asserts them with little to no evidence in regards to the omissions, especially with these omissions being made intentionally, and that they apparently undermine the validity of the FISA warrant. There just isn't anything there. Remember earlier in the video when I said the Papadopoulos was another independent source for the Trump-Russia investigation? This is why I mentioned him earlier, because it means you can't dismiss the entire investigation based on Page, because there's others involved, including Papadopoulos, a key witness in the Trump-Russia case, and someone who was already pleaded guilty to this sort of stuff. Finally, Page hasn't even been indicted. It seems if there's anything in the investigation, it will come out thanks to Papadopoulos. And the right is trying to use this to fire everyone at the FBI, which, as has been shown, is pointless and will trigger a constitutional crisis because the memo doesn't prove anything. So, that is my video for this week. I hope you found it interesting. Please rate, comment, share and subscribe, and have a great day, everyone.